Hello and welcome to the London Club, and this video in which we're going to take a look at 6 avoidable golf rules mistakes. Now these are all things that golfers tend to do on the course that can end up costing them penalty shots. Now those players aren't necessarily trying to break the rules or gain an advantage, but just by not knowing each of these rules in enough detail, they can end up causing themselves a real problem. Now I'm going to be joined in this video by Golf Monthly rules guru, that's Jezz Ellwood, and he's going to talk you through exactly what you need to know in each of these scenarios to help you out on the golf course, to help you avoid making any unwanted rules mistakes. Right, let's get started. Okay, so Jezz, I've hit quite a good shot in here.
Yeah.
This is the 12th hole at the London Club. I've carried the water. It doesn't matter that I've only carried it by a few inches.
Fair enough.
But I do have this little sprinkler head on my line, and the lie's very tight. I'm very keen to putt this.
Okay.
I'd be doing everything that I could, I think, to try and get relief in this scenario.
Yes.
Tell me what I can and cannot do.
Well, the only way you'll get relief in that scenario there is if there's a local rule.
Okay.
You might think, this is puttable, therefore I want to putt, so I should be entitled to putt, but the rules don't quite see it that way. They would say, yes, you get relief if you're standing on it or if your ball is on it, but if it's just on your line between you and the flag, there is no automatic relief unless it interferes with your area of intended swing.
And unless I was sort of doing some sort of weird...
You would have to, contort things a bit to try and claim that. So
that's not happening.
Your first port of call now is the scorecard, if you're desperate to putt it. And if the scorecard doesn't have the local rule that allows additional relief for this scenario, then you could putt it if you wanted to, but you'd be going straight through the sprinkler head. And if the local rule does exist, it will typically say sprinkler head within 2 club lengths of the green, which that is, and if your ball is within 2 club lengths of that sprinkler head,
which it is,
and the sprinkler head is directly on your line, then you would be entitled to the nearest point of relief away from that.
No, I actually haven't looked at the local rules here, so I don't know whether I get relief here.
No.
In which case, I'm going to just play it because I don't want to dice.
Again, if you've forgotten to check the local rules and none of you have access to them out on the course,
best to play it as it is.
Best to assume that the local rule doesn't exist.
This is going to be a test.
Yeah.
This will be a test, but well, we'll see. Well, it's not brilliant, but it's
almost a gimme.
It's almost a gimme. I think I'll take that.
Yeah.
Right, so we have a situation here that can cause players some problems. So I've hit my ball down the right-hand side of this hole, and I found, as you can see, a nasty little spot.
Very nasty tuft.
But we've found my ball, or at least I think I found my ball. I now need to identify it.
Yeah.
Now the process involves marking the position of the ball, doesn't it?
It does, and the problem, the avoidable mistake a lot of people make is not marking it position first.
Right, okay.
And if they do that, then unfortunately that attracts a penalty. This rule changed a few years ago so that you didn't have to call your playing companions over to observe the process, but you do still have to mark the ball before you lift it.
Right, so you don't have to be here to watch me do it.
I don't have to be here,
but I do need to mark the position. I do need to put it back exactly where it was originally. So I put my tee into this grass, which I can just about see right underneath the ball, lift up my ball, and I can see from the markings that it's mine.
Yeah.
But there's also a bit of mud on my ball here, Jezz. Can I clean that?
Well, you can clean that only if you need to be able to identify the ball, and looking at that,
no,
you probably
so I can clean
don't.
it, see it on that side.
So that is another breach that will cost you a penalty if you were to clean that ball more than was necessary. Again, that would be a penalty stroke, and it's rule 7.3, penalty stroke for both breaches, whether you fail to mark the position or whether you clean it more than is necessary to identify it.
Yeah, so put this one back exactly where it was, right in this tuft.
Yeah.
And
good luck with that.
And I'll have a go at this. It's one of those rules that is easy to get wrong. Just make sure you always mark the position of the ball before you identify it. Find out that it's yours, then put it back exactly where it was. Okay, so for this one, you're going to need to use a little bit of imagination. So imagine that the yellow penalty area stake on the ground in front of us is not that. Instead, it's a white line drawn on the ground to mark out of bounds.
Yeah.
The question that we're looking to answer in this part, Jezz, is when is a golf ball in bounds and when is it out of bounds? And the reason that we've put the ball in this very, very specific position here is that depending on the direction of play, this ball is either in bounds or out of bounds.
Yes.
Demystify, please.
Okay, well, let's assume first that this here The side I'm on is the course side edge.
So I'm out of bounds and you're inbounds.
That's right. Now, if any of the ball is overhanging the course side, it's inbound. So if you look closely here, you can see that some of the ball is over the edge of the course side edge of the boundary. So although that ball is on the line, it is inbounds.
Yeah, and I would be able to play this in that direction.
You could,
no
and you
problem.
could stand out of bounds to do so, and that wouldn't be a problem.
Oh, that's good to know.
If we flip it round, so this is now the course side over here.
So, yeah.
If you look over the top of it, none of the ball is overhanging that edge. So although that ball is also on the line, that would be out of bounds if we were playing that way.
And, oh, the heart is broken in that
yeah,
scenario,
by
isn't it?
what, half a centimetre
As much
maybe?
as you might be standing there looking at it, trying to figure out a way to call that as in play, it's not, it's out of bounds.
It is, and your only option then is to go back and replay under stroke and distance if you haven't already played a provisional ball, which you would then have to move across and play if you had.
Yeah, so it's pretty clear, but all the thing you need to understand is any of the golf ball overhanging the course side? If it is, you're inbounds. If it's not, you're out. Oh, that was to win the hole.
Yeah, that was tough, but I hope you're not just going to go ahead and tap that in.
I was.
Match play. I'm now the ball further from the hole. The order of play in match play is the player further from the hole, as it is in stroke play, but in stroke play, ready golf allows you to do whatever you want almost.
Yes.
But in match play, it's a different kettle of fish. If you go ahead and tap that in, you've played out of turn.
Yes.
I could, in theory, ask that you replay the shot in the correct order, by which time it might be a little bit harder to hole, possibly. Which is the reason for the rule, really.
Frostier relationship between.
Yeah, well, undoubtedly, yes.
If I make this, then your little insurance policy potential is gone.
Well, as you say, it's an awkward scenario that you want to avoid. So, best just to remember that in match play, you have no right to hole out if your ball is closer to the hole than your opponent's.
Yeah, this one is on me. I needed to go straight up and mark this one to avoid any kind of awkward situation between us. That's the best thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely the best thing to do. So just remember, while in stroke play, ready golf would perhaps encourage you to walk up and tap that in. It's not quite the same in match play.
Okay, go on then, Jez. Knock yours in.
Okay.
Or miss it. Oh no.
Oh no.
So I've got that to win the hole. You can have that.
Thank you.
Tricky shot this. Into the wind. I have to lean on this a bit to get it there. Okay. Right. Well.
Okay. Now, allow me to just stop you there before you hit that.
Yeah.
We have a scenario here, and I get a lot of emails about this. People who think that there is now no penalty for you accidentally moving your ball anywhere on the golf course, and that's not the case. There are some exceptions now that weren't there before, but if you move your ball like you did there, when you put the club down behind it, the ball moved an inch, didn't it?
Yep, it's come off this tuft. It's now in a much worse lie.
It is.
I'm quite looking forwad to hitting it off there.
Yeah, well, you will get to hit it off there in a minute.
Okay, that's good.
Because what people often fail to do, they don't realise it's still a penalty for accidental movement, but it is under rule 9.4, but you also have to now replace the ball before you play it.
Right.
So you've now got to try and replace it back on that tuft that it was invitingly sitting on.
It was.
And then play it. So there's a penalty for causing the ball to move, but if you had played it from the place it had rolled to, there's a worse penalty, the general penalty, for playing from the wrong place. So that would be 2 strokes in stroke play or instant loss of hole in match play.
It's an interesting one, that. So, I mean, the general rule of thumb, Jez, would be that if you've moved the ball anywhere on the golf course, it's got to go back to where it originally was, right?
That's the case, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're deemed to have caused it to move. Yeah.
But if it's happened on the putting green, no penalty.
No, but you still have to replace it.
But you have to replace it. But if it's happened here,
Yeah, that's probably the only other issue that has changed since the rules had the big makeover in 2019 is you're no longer penalised if you cause the ball to move when you're looking for it.
Okay, yes.
But again, you have to replace it in the spot it was in estimating it to the best of your ability if you can't be 100% sure exactly where it was.
And you know, if you weren't stood here, I think in that scenario, I would probably always call over my at least one playing partner to say, look, this has just happened.
Yeah.
I'm now not improving my lie by moving it. I'm putting it back to where it originally was.
Yeah.
Penalty shot.
Yeah.
And then get on with it.
So now you've got to, you'll know this time that it's best not to put the club down behind the ball before attempting to play.
Yeah, I've made a tricky shot, somewhat harder because I'm now in a bad mood as well. So let's give it a go. Oh, get down. Oh no, it's gone left.
This is going to end up quite a big score, I'm afraid. Just short of the gorse, but you're probably chipping for a bogey at best, I would think.
Oh, get down.
Gone left.
It's quite thick, the rough over there.
It is at the moment, isn't it?
I think I'm going to have to hit another one.
Okay, so you've teed it up a bit more, but what you haven't done is something that's fairly important at this point if you're playing in a competition, and that is to make it obvious that this is a provisional ball and you only want to use it if you can't find the original.
Right, so me just saying in that scenario, I'm going to hit another one, that's not good enough?
It's not enough. No, you've either got to say, I'm going to hit a provisional, or you've got to indicate very clearly that the ball you're hitting is one that you only want to use if you can't find the original. And I think if you look into the decisions or the interpretations, whatever they're called these days, it says phrases like I'm going to hit another one just in case are good enough.
Right, okay.
But if you just say I'm going to hit another one, that ball would automatically become the ball in play, even if you find your original ball in a perfect line.
When it comes to the rules of golf, clarity is everything. And so I would always advise people just to say, I'm going to hit a provisional. Yeah. It just avoids any kind of doubt in a situation like this.
Yes.
And the other thing I would say is that we often get comments on our videos saying, oh, why you take, this is all a bit over the top, this is all a bit much, who cares? Well, that's fine if you're just playing in a friendly, isn't it?
Do what you like in a friendly.
Whatever, I mean, if we were playing in a friendly and I said I'm going to hit another one here, you're not going to suddenly invoke a penalty on me.
Well, I might do. But
I'd hope you wouldn't.
We wouldn't play much friendly golf together after that, probably.
No.
But this is not for people who are just bunting around with their mates. This is just trying to help people who might find themselves playing in a competition. Someone calls them up on something like this and they get a bit aggrieved, but it's really a matter of just knowing what you have to do.
Yeah, or they're playing for their handicap. Those things, that's where it's important that you know rules like this and you don't end up making avoidable mistakes. So there you have it, that's our look at avoidable golf rules mistakes. If you do have any questions, please feel free to leave some comments below. We understand that at times the rules of golf can feel quite complicated. They're there for a reason and it really does pay to know them in as much detail as you can. That's it for now from the London Club. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.